Today's session, we're going to be having Mr. Yahya Bako Galadima. He's an achiever, a coach, a speaker, and a certified management trainer. He's a team builder with excellent experience and skills to acquire set goals. So, Mr. Yahya, over to you. You can share your slide and then continue with your presentation. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Sheon Justin. Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed an honor for me to be the facilitator in this training session. I so wish that others could come up so I could also learn from their experiences. And then I was meant to be the first speaker, and it's just an honor. Good afternoon, each and every one of you. This training is unique in the sense that we are not seeing each other physically. I said that on Monday during the
Kindly unmute yourself. I just muted everyone. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, you can go on, sir.
Just as I said, it's an honor to be the first facilitator in the 2021 Youth Civic Engagement Program, Leadership Training of Leadtots and Human Development Services. I said on Monday at the course of the opening ceremony that this is a unique training in the sense that we will not be opportune to see each other physically. This is the new normal. And as human beings and leaders that are evolving, we have to make do with what we have. I hope and pray that in no distant time we'll get to see ourselves and encourage ourselves even as we conduct a physical meeting. Just as he said, my name is Yahya Bako Galadima, a team member in Leadtots and Human Development Services. Sharon, I've been trying to share the slides, and it's showing me host disabled participant screen sharing. Could you enable me to share the slides? Now, today we'll be talking about intentional living. Intentional living. I so wish that there would be a moment for interaction for us to be able to at least share based on our own understanding what the term intentional living is. Intentional living. I know that it could mean 1,000 things to 1,000 people, but the term intentional living, what comes to your mind the moment that word intentional living is mentioned? Time will not permit us to answer that. But we happen to be in a generation where people desire greatness. People want to solve a lot of problems in life. People desire bodies that are healthy and fit. People desire to wake up someday and become rich without working for it. We tend to see life that we fantasize about either on the screen of our televisions, from football stars, from movie stars, from people around us. We tend to think as if it is something that will just come out of the blues, and then we discover that we're successful. We desire success, but when it comes to working towards achieving that, a lot of us are found wanting in that aspect. There are countless number of materials you can glean on the internet that could push you towards becoming the ideal person you desire to be. But the major challenge we're facing in this age is the discipline to follow through. It's so easy to sit down and give theories on XYZ, but when it comes to implementation and following through, it's always a problem. Now, your brightest life just as it's stated, doesn't land on your lap. Your brightest life doesn't land on your lap. You have to go out and get it. Whatever you desire, it doesn't come out automatically. That you wake up in a single day and you discover that that which you desire to have, it's there. But you have to be the one to work towards getting it. Intentional living. Now, at the end of this session, participants will be able to define intentional living, to list the steps towards intentional living, and also define some concepts which has to do with the models of reality that is designed, the Newtonian concept and the quantum model of reality. At the end of this session, these are the specific objectives that we should be able to do. Sorry, I'm trying to put the...
It's at the left corner. Have you seen it from beginning? Click from beginning. Or from current slide. Have you seen it? Under.
Oh, yeah.
Under file.
Uh-huh.
Yes, from current slide.
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
These are the objectives. I said at the end of the session, participants will be able to define intentional living and also list the steps towards intentional living and define some models of reality or concepts which are known as Newtonian and quantum concept of reality. Now, what is intentional living? Now, I define intentional living as any lifestyle based on an individual or group's conscious attempt to live according to their values and belief. What this definition is saying is that it's not a straight jacket definition that if Mr. A desire this to be his ideal self and he's working towards building and developing that, Mr. B can automatically copy and paste that and call it intentional living. What, in a nutshell, I mean is that supposing you desire to be a medical doctor and somebody desires to be an architect, what these two students would be studying and working towards are quite different. For a medical doctor, his
I guess it's network. Okay, sorry, I guess Mr. Haya had a network challenge. That's a challenge we're experiencing. The network seems to be unstable, and we have been able to check before now to ensure that his network is using a more reliable network. Or you can imagine the network we're relying on also failing. So just give him a while. I believe he's coming back shortly. Thank you.
Hello? I said, once again, I said these values can include the lifestyle based on our religious, political, or ethical values, as well as for self-improvement. Some of those things that you work intentionally towards developing has to do with the values that are enshrined in the faith we profess in terms of religion, or in the political parties we belong, or rather in some of the ethics and values that we hold dear to ourselves, which is a way of trying to improve ourselves.
Just click the arrow next, the next
Okay.
arrow. I mean, you can touch it on your keyboard.
It's freezing.
Okay, use your keyboard.
Oh, no. I also said further definition. Intentional living is making conscious choices every day to bring about the outcomes and feelings you desire in your life. Now, look at the words conscious effort. It is not something that happens as a result of an external force. You're not being reacting to what is happening around your environment. You are making deliberate and conscious choice in order to bring about the feelings you desire. You're not being moved by the wind. You don't belong to what others could call the wind direction, but you mount on the steering wheel of your life in order to drive it and take yourself to the place you want to be. Simply put, it's living a life on purpose. Somebody was quoted saying, life without a purpose is worse than death, which means if you're not living according to the purpose of your life, a dead man is better than you. All of us are originally designed and wired by the Creator to fulfill something in our lives. It is the same thing with what we have, the gadgets in our houses, what we use in life, they are all fashioned and designed for a specific task or purpose. Nobody would want to go to the market and buy a television that would want to be giving him audio without video. That means the aim of manufacturing the television is defeated. Now, it's also the same thing with intentional living. It's simply put as living a life on purpose. Introduction. Now, once the term intentional living is mentioned, the first thing you need to do is to examine your why. Why am I on earth? Why am I a student? Why do I belong to a political party? Why am I a member of this club or association or group? Why am I studying in this particular institution? Why am I involved in this business? Now, the questions go on and on and on. But you need to, first of all, for you to live life intentionally, to sit down and examine your why in life. What is my purpose on earth? What am I here for? Unless you sit down to begin to ask these questions, you would not live life with intentionality. Now, why are your friends your friends? Do you just go out and meet anybody on the street and you begin to call him a friend? What are some of the values you desire to see in the people you call your friends? Why are they your friends? Are they just your friends because they are the people around? Or do you make careful selection before you could call somebody your friend, before you could confide in somebody? Why are you working hard? Now, there are countless number of persons that saw the invite on Facebook and other social media platforms for them to be enrolled for this training. Others chose not to do that. There are countless number of persons that has the resources to start the business you're doing, and they are not doing that. There are countless number of persons that are intellectually sound that could gain admission into tertiary institutions and study and become something. They are not doing that. Why are you working hard in life? Why are you pressing to become something in life? Why did you choose to wear the clothes you're wearing? I don't want to believe all of us that are attending this training are wearing the clothes we're wearing because we don't have an option. Most of us make careful choices out of the number of clothes we have in our closets, and we chose to wear what we're wearing today. Why did you choose that? Is it just at random? You close your eyes and stretch forth your hands and then pick anything from the closet to use? Is that the reason? Why did you choose to attend this training? Why? Now, all these are some of the questions that you need to sit down and begin to ask yourself as you work towards living life with intentionality. Why did you choose to attend this? There are countless number of courses online, some local, some international or foreign, yet you chose to enroll in this. Newtonian versus quantum. Now, I said from the beginning at the course of sharing the objective for this training that we'll be talking about Newtonian and the quantum model of reality, which is a concept built over time. The Newtonian model is equally called linear model of reality. Linear model of reality. Now, in this model of reality, it is saying that external circumstance affects your personal reality. Now, which is saying that you don't have to be intentional. Whatever happens to you externally controls your behavior, controls your thinking, controls your values, which means, as the saying goes, when you go to Rome, do as the Romans do. Now, the number of friends I happen to find myself are friends that spend the entire day drinking. I don't have a choice rather than to go with them. Another person could say the group of friends I have are people that spend most of their day smoking. In view of that, I don't have an option rather than to turn out as a chain smoker. External circumstance, what is happening around you? One rapper in those days could say the media is made up of dirty street, just like the media. Whenever you see that is making headlines in the media is what is found in our own communities, in the society. Now, the Newtonian model is also saying it's all about cause and effect. It is also tagged as a mechanical concept of reality. Mechanical, which means it has to be like that. It is designed and wired in this format. You don't have a choice rather than to go through the motions, as Americans could say. You have no cause but to react to the external world. You don't have a cause. You cannot carve something and say, this is what I desire to be. This is how I want to live my life, but you have to. Now, on the flip side of it, a sharp contrast to the Newtonian model of reality is the quantum model of reality. Now, and the quantum model of reality is saying that your personality, your thoughts, your emotions, your choices, your behaviors and habits affect your personal reality. Now, which I would gladly say that this is in line with intentional living. It's saying that your thought as a person, the emotions you have, the choices you make, each and every day in every turn of our life, we're left with countless choices. And you are the Lord and architect of your life that could decide what you want to do with it. what the quantum model of reality is saying, that all those things sum up together affect your personal reality. Now, the quantum model of reality is saying that you can be intentional with the way you choose to think, feel, or act, which means you don't react to what is happening. Even if the whole world is saying that this is how it ought to be, because of the values you have as a person and the desire for you to live life intentionally, you are not going to react like that. I have seen people that are trying to live a healthy life, whereby no matter how hungry they are, there are some certain kind of food they will not eat because they want to achieve something. They could be as hungry as anything, but they don't dare eat something because they have chosen that this is how they want to live their lives. Now, the quantum model of reality is saying that when this is practiced over time, consistently, will reshape your personal reality. It is a known fact that whatever you do consistently becomes you. Once you continue to do something over time, it will become you. John Maxwell could say talent is not enough, which means you could be talented in a particular field. If you don't work towards improving yourself with intentionality, you will, at the end of the day, be overtaken by somebody that is not talented in that particular field. Now, you need to consistently practice some of those things you desire to see as part of your own ideal self. Questions to ask yourself. So what habits could you practice in order to feel more intentional with your time, your focus, and your choices? Now, what are some of the things you desire to see in life? What are those things that you value, that you intentionally want to work towards that? Now, if you have chosen something to do, I am a leader that desire to achieve peace in my community. What do? Which means everything around you would be working towards actualizing the peace you desire to see in your community. You do it with intention. So much so that even if you're the type that is hot-tempered, in the midst of daunting challenges or in the midst of serious provocation, you tell yourself that I desire to be a role model of somebody that would be having a room to accommodate the shortcomings of others. You do it with intentionality. I desire to be a successful businessman. How do you do that? Now, you can't be a businessman that would be spending the profits and the capital as well. Every businessman should have a plan towards how he spends the profit of his business. If your desire to go into business, you need to sit down and design how you want it to be. For me, maybe you could say, I am a footballer. Now, you can't be a footballer or choose to, maybe your desire is to be an international footballer. You can't have this desire that you want to be an international footballer and be doing things that would be opposite of what footballers do. That is why people would sit down and watch those that are successful in a particular field. What are some of the habits they have? What are some of the things they do, the choices they make? What are some of the things they focus on? You need to ask yourself these things in order to do what? To live life with intentionality. Which daily routine could you introduce into your life now to live more intentionally? What are some of the things you do? What are some of the things you need to introduce to live life with intentionality? Unless you do that, you would continue to allow the currents and tides of time to continue to toss you to and fro. How would your days look like once you live more intentionally? What are some of the things you desire to see? How will it look like? How will this day that I would call a perfect day, an ideal day for myself, how would it look like? How am I working towards actualizing that? How would you feel once you decide to create more and interact less? Create more and interact less. How will you feel? So that you sit down and you begin to think, how do I create this environment that would spur me towards becoming the person I desire to be, rather than interacting more. Now, I said intentional living has to do with what you have in the inside agreeing with what is found on the outside. You cannot lay claim to the fact that you are A from the inside, and then what you do on the outside does not tally with what you profess to be. A typical example, maybe you are an athlete and you are saying that you're training yourself for a major competition. And all of us know that doing drugs is also against being a sportsman. It is unethical, unlawful for somebody that does drug to be involved in any major competition, particularly when it comes to international competitions. Now, you can't tell yourself that I'm planning to feature in the next Olympic, and then all you need to do is to be taking enhancement drugs in order to be able to give yourself a boost towards doing that. Now, if you are saying that this is who you are from the inside, it should also agree with what you are from the outside. If you are laying claim to the fact that you are a peace ambassador, in the way you relate with people around you, the peace from the inside should also be seen with in the way you relate with people. I said it is identifying what values are important to you in life and finding ways to prioritize them. What are some of the things you value? What are some of the things you value? How do you prioritize them? Placing them according to scale of reference and knowing how to address them. This quote by Ralph Matson is saying the quality of your commitment determines the course of your life. Now, as I said from the beginning, it is not something that comes out of the blue. Intentional living has to do with the conscious effort, deliberate effort, the discipline you subject yourself to towards becoming the ideal person you desire. I said it is not about having anything figured out. Now, just as I said, just as we mount the staircase without seeing the end of the building, that is the same thing with intentional living. I also liken it to traveling in the night, even if it is in the daytime. For example, you might be in Jos wanting to travel to Bauchi, or in Gombe wanting to come to Bauchi, or maybe in Jos trying to travel to Abuja. No matter how an expert you are in driving, you could only see some meters further from where your car is. But you keep driving, knowing fully well that you get to Jos. The same thing with driving in the night. You might only be able to see as further as your headlights could flash, but yet you continue driving, knowing fully well that you will get to your destination. All I'm saying is that it's not all about having XYZ figured out in such a way that you sit down and you have all things planned out. Now, it's possible that at the cost of implementation, whatever plans you must have made might suffer some setbacks. But what I am saying in essence is that you have to continue anyway. It is not all about seeing the end from the beginning. You might see the end from the beginning, but how you get to the end might be subjected to a lot of fine-tuning as you go through life on a daily basis. But it means having a purpose behind your action. That whatever action you do as somebody that wants to live intentionally, there must be a reason behind your why. I said from the beginning, you need to examine your why. Why am I doing this? Why am I involved in this? Why am I into this? All these are some of the questions you desire to ask yourself as you do that. I said you can choose to be intentional about your direction without you knowing your final destination. I have spoken about that, giving illustration with driving, particularly for most of us that know how driving is. Even in the daytime, as you ply the highways, you might be seeing something that looks like water on the highway, which is called mirage. But then you continue moving. The moment you get closer, you discover that there's no water on the highway. Intentional living could be likened to that you don't see the end or the final destination, but yet you continue moving. Now, I said everything steps towards intentional living. Everything starts with your core value. Your core values are reasons behind your choice of direction. Now, the values Mr. A is having might not be similar with the one Mr. B is having. And which means if Mr. A is living according to his own values, Mr. B cannot dare question him as to why he's living his life according to the values he has designed for himself. But the long and short of it is that you need to ensure that whatever you have stated as your values as a person are the reasons behind every action you embark upon. What you are living in the outside must be in agreement with what your heart is saying from the inside. I said that earlier on. The English people could call that personal congruent. When your words, your thoughts, and your actions are in alignment with each other. You must not lay claim to the fact that you are this, yet you do something opposite of that. You must not call yourself a medical student, and yet your flair and your love is that in social sciences. It's not done like that, which means whatever values, whatever you do on a daily basis should be working you towards that thing you desire to achieve in life. Identify what you want your life to communicate and contribute. Now, for you to live intentionally, you need to identify the lessons your life desire to contribute and communicate to the world. I remember in John Maxwell's book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the law of legacy, where oftentimes when I'm given the chance to ask this question, I start by telling people, supposing this is your coffin that is lying in front of you. The Hausa men could call it makara. You are dead. Reject it, bind it, but that is a fact. What do you want the people that are standing to mourn you to say about you? Now, for you to live intentionally, you need to design this. Write your legacy. Identify what you want your life to communicate and contribute. So that even when you're not there, people will know that this is what he stands for. I know this person. He stood for this while alive. He is a firm person when it comes to this. These are his core values as a person. Identify that for you to live with intentionality. Find a passion to live for that is bigger than yourself. Something that is bigger than yourself. It shouldn't be just to make money. And so what? To become a medical doctor. And so what? To be an architect. And so what? To be a party chairman. Now, all of us are created to touch the life of others around us. In the community, in the society, at school, in the market, everywhere. Now, if this passion does not translate into touching the life of people, it means you have not started. That is why I said find a passion to live for that is bigger than yourself, way bigger. Something that you know that you need to involve people at the end of the day towards doing that. 2, I said accept responsibility. You will not deceive yourself that you are living intentional life without desiring to accept responsibility. I said all of us are created to touch the life of others. You have the power to make choices. Now, when things that would walk you towards your goal are presented, anybody that lives with intentionality is expected to embrace that and work towards that. Work hard and accept criticism. Even though I said all of us have our own uniqueness and wiring, all of us have things we call the ideal self according to the values we have as human beings. But it is good to accept criticism from others, to equally work hard. Criticism that are constructive are means to reshape us and give us greater focus towards achieving what we desire to achieve. Make tough choices. Now, I said that at the course of the opening session on Monday, that you cannot set a low standard for yourself and lead others. The choices you make must be tough ones, not an easy one. Not an easy one for you to be able to make a mark and also ensure that you live with intentionality. Become responsible for your life. You don't allow the external forces to control you, but you are responsible for the choices you make and the things you do. Lead your life in the direction of your desire. No matter how good it is, if it is not pointing you towards your desire, your own ideal self, you are not expected to by any means be involved in that. 3, I said, make small, repeated decisions. You are to make bite-sized daily or weekly rituals to support your values. I want to live intentionally. What do I do? How do I make it in such a way that daily, every decision I make, every turn I make, every activity walk me towards the ultimate goal? Maybe you're traveling from Bauchi to Abuja, and then instead of plying the road, Bauchi to Jos, you begin to drive towards Gombe. It means you're not making bite-sized daily decisions that will walk you towards your values or your goals. Somebody going to Abuja heading towards Gombe, it means he has not started as yet. So whatever you do should be something that would walk you towards becoming the person you desire. I said it is about making a decision every day to live a life you want every day. Every day, making decisions that would ensure that you live the life you want. I asked this question: what will I do that will point me in the direction of my dreams? It's a question that all of us need to ask myself. All of us have dreams and aspirations as young persons. What are some of the things that you and I would do on a daily basis that will point us towards the direction of our dreams? It's not something that is supposed to happen overnight. 4, I said there's no right or wrong answer. I said from the beginning, it all depends on your values as a person. It does not have a moral compass. So that Mr. A would tell you that, hey, you're on the wrong lane. What are some of the things you value? What are some of those things you value? Your value might not be the same with Mr. B. It is about being honest and doing what feels right to you. Does it make me happy? Do I feel right? Does it contribute to the ultimate goal? All these are some of the things we need to take into note. It must stem out of your personal conviction. Am I convinced that this is the right thing? Or is it because it is a popular opinion? A saying has it that just because everybody does it doesn't make it right. You need to be convinced that what you're doing is the right thing. I said it is a continuous process. It is a daily development. It doesn't develop in a day. John Maxwell could say this in the laws of 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, the law of addition. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. Now, whatever you do on a daily basis is just like investing in capital market. The more you invest, the more your investment continue growing. It's a daily thing. There is no finish line and must be in constant communication with yourself. Now, there's no finish line. It's not something that you get to a point and you tell yourself that I have arrived. There's always room for more. Just like the nursery rhymes could say, good, better, best. There's always room for you to be better than the way you are today. Keep deciding what is working and making adjustment on a daily basis. It's something that is supposed to be subjected to fine-tuning on a daily basis. Supposing you make a plan to achieve something without taking into note the COVID-19 pandemic that is a new reality. What do? You need to sit down and adjust and ensure that what you do agrees with what is happening, the current reality. It is also the same thing as it relates to this training. Initially, our trainings are physical, where we have interactions with the participants, but we have to live with the current reality, the COVID-19. That's why we're having a virtual training for this. Stop living autopilot and start living on purpose. Autopilot means allowing external forces to control you. Yes, I am alive. Whatever happens today, tomorrow is going to be Thursday. However the day presents itself, that is how I am going to go through the day. Now, you need to stop that and start living on purpose. In conclusion, now, are you thoughtful about how you spent your life? Do you sit down and begin to think about how you spend your life? How do you spend it? Do you allow happenings around you to control you? Are you the architect and the one on the driving seat of your life? Or you are allowing external forces to control you? Do you make choices that are pushing you towards your goal? Do you understand the deeper why behind the decisions you make? What are some of the reasons behind the decisions? Do you sit down to think about that? Now, I said, do you own your life? We might be alive, yes, we have chosen to be part of this training, but some of us don't own our lives because we have surrendered our choices to others. They are the ones dictating. A saying has it that the moment we surrender our choices to someone else's opinion, a part of us die. Now, permit me to say that all of us, we die. The moment you surrender the choices you have as a human being to another person, you are dead completely. We are created with the power of choice to make choices. Are you willing to stop wishing and start doing? I said from the beginning, some of us think as if it is something that will fall from the sky. I desire to do this. I want to have this. I could wake up tomorrow and become rich. I could wake up tomorrow and become a successful businessman. I could wake up tomorrow and build good relationship with people. Just like investment, you do it on a daily basis. You do the same in terms of relationship you build with people, in terms of advancing your career, in business, in terms of influencing or affecting your community. You need to stop wishing and start doing. As a Chinese saying goes, that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. It is the same thing with intentional living. Daily, small size, bite decisions will propel you towards the ideal self you desire. Thank you so very much. I was meant to understand that I have 40 minutes, and I think, thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yahaya, for this amazing uh, presentation. I believe it was rich and the delivery was great. I can also see it from some of the comments in the chats. We are grateful, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.